Hello, hello. Welcome back to Let's Talk H.P. Lovecraft for our final video of the year. I am doing The White Ship by H.P. Lovecraft, published November 1919 in the United Amateur. For my money, this is the most hauntingly beautiful piece of Lovecraft fiction that I have ever read. Rather than being disturbing, as a lot of his stuff is, or sort of frightening, this is really kind of story that kind of envelops you, makes you feel like you're inside of a dream, which is sort of part of the plot of the story. But as far as the plot goes, our narrator is a guy named Basil Elton, who was a third-generation lighthouse keeper. He sees, or imagines that he sees, a white ship on the horizon from his post in the lighthouse one evening, and he imagines, or actually does, walk out to the ship on a bridge made of moonbeams, where he joins a bearded captain for a sort of mystical journey. The ship navigates by following a sort of magical bird that sort of leads the way for them. They pass several sort of mythological, but I guess they would be Lovecraft's original mythology as opposed to Earth mythology. These really interesting, intriguing locations. One of them is called Zar. It is a green land where men's beautiful, forgotten dreams are physically, like, incarnate, exist. Kind of reminds me of the book that I talk about a lot, Mythical Wood. But they pass this land by and go to the land of Zura, which is a land of pleasures unattained, which looks beautiful from the outside, but as you get near, you realize there's the smell of death. So they pass this by, and they eventually settle on the land of Sona Nai, or Nil, which is a paradise, and he stays there for ages. While living in this paradise, he hears about this other place, this other city called Cathuria, and the news of it, the talk about it, sort of piques his desires, and he feels the urge to go leave his paradise where he could spend the rest of eternity, and instead go to this land of hope. So the captain warns him against this. You have paradise. It is a big risk to go to the land of hope, which nobody has returned from. You don't know if it exists. Is it worth the risk? But desire drives him, so they leave paradise against the captain's warning, and they set out, and they come into a sea of fog, and into which they find themselves plummeting off the sort of the end of the world. Narrator awakens on the rocks below his own lighthouse. There is a piece of white lumber from a ship in the surf, along with a dead bird. A white ship has crashed, and he looks up to see that his light in his lighthouse, which has kept ships off the rocks since the time of his grandfather, has for the first time gone out. And judging by the calendar, he's only been gone sort of just moments, but just that moment of daydreaming has led to catastrophe for a ship that no longer could see its way. Just sort of analysis, I think I'll repeat from the beginning, just this shockingly beautiful, eerie story of a fictional sea voyage. It reminds me of some of Tolkien's writings, which actually they were happening about the same time as this, but he never really released anything about that part of Middle-earth until much later. But it reminds me of Tolkien's work as far as the Blessed Realm and what is in the utmost west. Definitely find it to be some of Lovecraft's most intriguing work. It's beautiful, it's subtle, and it feels completely different than any of the 20 or so Lovecraft stories that I've read so far. But at its heart, it is a cautionary tale about the risk of daydreaming in your job, which can cause catastrophe, but also it's the risk of leaving paradise. You're in a wonderful place. You try to leave it, and you end up losing not only the paradise, but everything you had before, which is the case with this narrator who failed in his job of protecting the ships that were passing by his lighthouse. I hate to say that everything that an author does is autobiographical, but it does sort of call to me the story of Lovecraft himself leaving his home in New England at the risk of love for a woman, marrying and going to New York, and really sort of declining as a person, finding himself struggling because he has left the thing that was most comforting to him, which is his home. So that was just my thoughts on the story, which it's one of those ones that it's good enough that it's actually hard to explain. So what I must say is that if you're still listening here, guys, you want to take the time to check out this story for yourself, because it is completely worth the 20 minutes or so that it'll take you to read it. So yeah, guys, that was The White Ship. This is our final video of 2018. It has been a big year for us here on Let's Talk. Got 5 new subscribers in the last 2 days, bringing our total up to 514. We are shooting for a goal of around 750 subscribers before the end of 2019, which begins tomorrow. Right now we are at a total of 1,627 videos. 640 of those were released this year alone. And my goal for that in the year ahead is to get us to at least 2,000 total videos before the end of the year. If I don't see you again, and I won't, Happy New Year, and enjoy some Lovecraft.